Hello, welcome to the reading today, everyone. So it's going to be a little interesting one. This is a introspective reading. I've called it the mirror talk. It's kind of like a soul conversation with yourself, or even just a conversation with you, like your incarnation, this incarnation with yourself, even you could see it as that. It's probably going to talk to more of the inner world and your, I guess you could say shadows. However, it's our inner self. Our whole inner self isn't shadowy, right? It's just going to be an introspective conversation with yourself. Okay, it came to me. I was going to do a different reading, and my guides kind of were like, no. This one needs to be done. The other reading was going to be light, soft, and fluffy, and I don't know. Maybe there's those readings are out there, which is great, right? So maybe this one's just a little different and needed to come through. Happy to say this deck is coming back through for this reading, and I'm quite excited to use it because I feel like I haven't grabbed this one for a while. Okay, so we're going to pick 3 cards. So let's give it a little shuffle. Take this one for pile 1. Pile 2. Alright, let's take a look now at the cards. Alright, so if you choose pile 1, this will be your card. You have the Ascended Master Saint Germain and Amethyst with Spiritual Connection, and Crystal Master number 333. This spot here is probably the best. Okay, for pile number 2, you have the Goddess Kali and Black Obsidian with Sacred Revolution. And this is Crystal Goddess number 888. Okay. And for pile number 3, you have the Ascended Master Helios and Citrine with Your Time to Shine, crystal number 333. Okay. So as always, this will be the 3 cards that you pick from. Choose whichever one or ones is calling to you. Think of the question or the theme, right? Mirror talk or a soul talk or introspective conversation with self. That will help guide you to which one is right for you. Trust your intuition with this. And if you want to jump straight to the video down below, you'll see the timestamp so you can jump into the correct one for you. I'll leave those in the description notes. Otherwise, I'll leave you to contemplate which one's calling to you, and I will see you in your message. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. So your introspective reading today. Take this with whatever resonates, of course, and leave what doesn't, as always with all readings. However, this is going to be really deep, so there could be things where you kind of get distracted and not want to listen to. Those might be the times to really tune back in, just to hear what's on offer. If it really doesn't resonate, then you can always hear it at least and then shift it to the side if it's not for you. Not sure why I had to go that deep into it, but I believe it's probably because you've chosen this card, Ascended Master Saint Germain, the Amethyst with Spiritual Connection. And it is touching, and spiritual connection isn't an external thing. It's really about clearing out some stuff within us, right? Or maybe not clearing out, but just like organizing and really having a solid connection with ourselves, which is our higher self, which is everyone, which is source energy, right? So it's not seeing ourselves as it's so separate. Okay. I was also getting Saint Germain maybe coming through to assist with this reading as well, because while I was shuffling, I was saying thank you for coming through, and I was like, okay, well, I guess you're coming through then. So take this as a message from Saint Germain as well, obviously channeled or coming through myself in this reading. However, I also picked up like the violet flame, right? Usually one to let go, like to release, not to so much cut cords, so to speak. That can be as well, but it's really to release any blockages, negative energy, anger, disappointment, sadness, whatever it is, grief, whatever emotional feeling that is old, that is no longer needing to be held onto, old stories, released into the flame to let go of it, basically let go, be free, that kind of energy. So we'll see what comes through. We've got a lot of kind of like interesting cards. They're more in the deeper inner soul kind of card readings. Like this is the Heal Yourself. We've got the Language of Darkness, right, which is really a soul connection from the depths. So it's the light in the depths of our being. Here is the Archetype cards. These are the pocket ones because they're a little smaller, which is nice for readings. And this is the Soul Mirror one, which was kind of what the purpose of doing this reading. I haven't used these cards for a bit, and they were popping up before I had fully decided what reading to do. And this one is the Night Guardian Tarot. So a lot of deeper connected cards. When I was shuffling these two as well, just for your reading, beforehand I do a quick shuffle. One of the cards popped out and flipped up and fell out. It was called the Vow, so it's kind of like the promise. And if this is for you or for someone who's listening, take it or leave it. But if there's like promises that you've made to yourself even, or promises to others, or maybe others haven't kept promises they've made to you, this could be about releasing those and not living as if they control you, right? Not living as though those were unfulfilled, therefore I can't fulfill my own purpose. That is untrue. You still are here, which means there's purpose and reason for being here. So, take that as well with what it's worth. I'm gonna grab a couple, I think. Yeah, we'll take that one. See if I can squeeze those down there. Some of these cards are quite large, so I'm trying to make sure I have enough space. Okay. And I'll just pull out these cards and then we'll have a look at the tarot at the end. There'll be at least enough room for a couple of cards from tarot. Okay. Let's pop those there. Alright, let's take a look at your cards today, pile one. So the two cards you've got here is the Creator and the Unseen, which is super interesting. It's kind of popping into me straight away as that self-belief or trust or truth that you can either overcome something or that you can see that you've kind of forgotten an aspect of your own inner power, whether that's self-belief in your ability to create, to produce, right, to accomplish, to do something, whether that's raising, that could be from raising children to your job competency, your relationship abilities, right? It could be anything, could be like deep down into like desires to sexual desires, like anything like that. This is to be uncovered and explored, not to be hidden and shamed, right? This is all different aspects of you. Like you can see here, there's a multicolored array of who you are. You don't have to be boxed into anything other than what you believe. So I feel like the mirror aspect of you is kind of shining through with like, there's so much more to you that you don't know or don't remember, right? You've probably lived many lives where you've been many different things. So anything that you feel you can't do is untrue in this reading. It kind of transforms itself into a block, so to speak, if you do believe that. Because, like, the creator is you, this isn't someone else. And the unseen is just like what's beyond, the five senses or six senses. I think they say six now because we can, what is it? We can sense humidity or something like that. And so I think that popped up somewhere that I was reading, and I was like, okay, I mean, I guess that's true. But anywho, more than that, I've got curiosity with bored and curious. Interesting with this little cat. And you've got awareness, which is foolish and conscious. Interesting. It's kind of funny. In some places, it feels like you are doing quite a lot, right? You've put yourself in a position where you complete, or you have filled your day. You've filled yourself with enough stuff to produce, to create, to do, like to accomplish. And I guess this is just saying, is that really fulfilling? Is it really something that is, calling to you? Is there a way to adjust and start to shift things or have a little bit more control over the paradigm of like how do I spend my days? How do I fulfill my days? Because conscious is like being in the present. Subconscious or unconscious is kind of like doing things because that's just what we do, right? Well, I got married at this age because in my day that was the thing that you did. Well, and then you're saying that to, let's say, your child or something. It's like, well, that's just what you do, right? And they're like, no. And you're like, well, why would you say that? Or like, why is that different? It's not about judging what you did or what your parents did or what they say or anything like that. It's just like being aware of it. It's like, oh, we just accept these things in our lives or this cultural kind of norm, right? Or this way of acting around certain people of like a certain gender or a different age, right? And it's not to say you're not always going to do that. That's okay. But if it's something that is like minimizing you or blocking you or reducing you, then that's where it's time to shift that. And if you've started to shift some of that and started to respark that curiosity, don't be shunned or pushed back by anybody, especially yourself, especially you here with this kind of like spiritual connection. Don't block your own spiritual connection to yourself. Spirit isn't outside of you, like it is and it isn't, right? It is as well as it is inside you. It's not just one or the other. I feel like if you focus just solely internal, sometimes you get stuck in the shadow, sometimes you get stuck in the shadow of the light, which is like ego. And then if you're just focused on the outside, you're cutting off your own connection to your ability to do things or to conceptualize and create and trust in self, right? It's all if it's all external, it's like my satisfaction comes from gratification or things that I can collect it outside. So it's finding a good balance is what I'm trying to say with this one. Okay. You have beauty. This is popping out so much in readings. This card is just popping, 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 popping. It's so interesting. Beauty. This card is really touching on, finding that truth and that love and that connection within you. You're not going in to do like so-called shadow work in a way that's like triggering. You're going in to just explore and see yourself and feel your, good vibes, reconnect with like an innocent aspect of a child or whatever it is. It's like, I guess it's going to be a personal journey of reminding you of the spark of creator essence within you. It's like has been seen or it hasn't been felt or it's going to be. So it's like when like even ask yourself, when was a time in my life where I felt like I had reached like the pinnacle or a peak of joy in a particular thing, like a wedding day, right? Or oh, I don't know, watching a child take their first step or something like that. It could be anything because that's the spark, or that's the energy that you want to tap into and explore. How can I bring that energy into my life in some way today? Is it buying that book? It can be external, right? Is it buying that book that I put off because I thought, oh, I don't really need it, right? But I really would enjoy watching it or whatever, or watching it, reading it. Is it doing something for myself, like going to a pottery class or taking an hour off, like to just go do something for me, all those kind of things. This has to come from within, though. Like she's literally like, tapping her chest. It's almost like those chest taps. I don't know what they do. I can't remember, but it's supposed to be quite good. You see it a lot in, what do you call it? Applied kinesiology. Yeah, it's reinvigorating, rewilding yourself. This wild card is going like seeing the beauty within yourself, seeing the mistakes as like not mistakes, right? They're just like opportunities to grow and learn from. Would you repeat them? No, that's a learning. Take that as a win. You have to kind of go through them, or of course you can watch people go through things and be like, is that for me or not? So there's a mixture of active participating in life and also observing. And here, this is like the active participation and just going off and doing something that you kind of like unexpected, right? I think your support team, guide team, and family even will probably find it a little bit like surprising, but why not? We have this incarnation to not just achieve or accomplish like particular productivity goals, right? That's work. That seems like work. We didn't come here to just work. We also came here to enjoy and play. Okay. I've got defense mechanism. It says soothe uncomfortable situations or thoughts. And I think that just touches back in on this. I think while we're talking about this, you might be like, oh no, this is triggering, or that is like, or like you might get annoyed at certain things. That's good. Like, not that that's my intention, but however, those things that you got triggered by, look at those. Take a look at those. If someone does something and it wasn't intended to harm you and you got upset about it, look at that yourself. Why did you get upset about that? Because this defense mechanism is usually something that gets triggered when someone's crossed a line, right? And crossing lines and borders, that's why we have boundaries. That is like fine to react to, but how do you react to them? Do you jump down their throat because they got too close to you, right? They're walking past you and you want like a meter around you. Like, what is that about? Where does that come from? Um, where does that trigger anchored in, or where does that trigger rooted into your heart, mind, soul? Because that will tell you a story or tell you what it's about, so you can start like checking it. It's not saying that all your boundaries or borders or whatever are wrong, right? It's just to check that this is actually true and right for me now. I feel like I talk about this a lot in my reading. So if you've been getting this message a lot, this could be a really good time to check your boundaries. It's not to judge them. It's just to make sure that they're right. It's kind of like if you were playing a video game, right, and you have a boundary around your city and stuff like that. Sometimes it needs to grow and expand to like take in more of the surrounding area so you can have more farmland or whatever, you know. Game's probably not the best analogy, but that kind of thing. It's not a bad thing, right? It's just to see if what I'm getting upset about is something that is actually upsetting, right? Or it is upsetting, but like, what is it? Why is it upsetting? Is it because they were actually intentionally trying to hurt me? Fine. Then, you know, you respond in the way that you feel is appropriate. If they weren't, and other people, or like it's just seen as a bit like of an overaction, then maybe that's time to look at it. And if you find that it's not an overaction that's correct for you, then it's correct for you, right? Reviewing stuff is not a problem. Yeah, you've got integrity. This is going to be like a complete, honest review of yourself. You've got loyalty to innermost truth. That's 100% what this reading is meant to be trying to connect with, right? What needs to be released and what is true? What is your true spiritual connection and what is like something that is just like bought and paid for by old stories or old religion or old belief system, old cultural systems. Some of those are absolutely fine and they're beautiful to have in your life, and some of them are triggering old and kind of like redundant in this day and age. But you decide what's the redundant parts of like something that's true to you, and or like not that's true to you, but that's like within you, right? That's no longer serving, like no longer assist you in this, in your inner self. I would take this as something to do maybe personally. You can talk about it with anyone that you want, of course, but this whole introspection feels like this needs to be done as a personal exploration. This isn't something that people are going to give you and say, this is how you should act, be, this is a good boundary or a bad boundary, you know, those kind of things. Because you don't want to be running through life continuously on autopilot. Or you might not even be on autopilot, you're just kind of like blasé about it, right? Like certain things, it's like, well, if this happens, it happens. I think your guides want you to kind of do some house cleaning within, some spiritual house cleaning, and go from there with filling it up with things that you actually love and enjoy instead of things that are just old and dusty, right? Okay. So you've got the King of Swords. This is honest integrity. So we're going to put it up. You know, you've got these little poppies in the background too. It's like your dreams are okay to be explored and to like be worked on and looked at. Even little things, even something that you thought you'd never try, and you're like, I always wanted to try that. Why not try it? You try it, you don't like it. Good. Now you know that you don't like it, right? Or you tried and you like it. Good. You now know that you like it. That's it. Maybe that's it. That's the kind of like re-sparking the fire, and you'll think, well, why would just one thing be anything? It's like, well, it's always leads to chain events, right? It's kind of like saying, when I light this this like bit of gunpowder here, that's all it's going to be is a little short thing, but you realize that it like leads to like a whole lot of fireworks or something. So you never know where it's going to lead to or how it's going to shape. You might do pottery, and that somehow, by whatever means, leads you into, I don't know, meditation practices or a new way of doing yoga or something. And you're like, how does that happen? You never know who you're going to meet. You never know how things are going to be created for you. So this is that dream or living the life, basically. Being a participant rather than an observer, or at least having that blend of observe, learn, practice, participate, learn. Nice, got the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is really interesting in here. It's got an octopus, a lot of intelligent creatures, right? You've got the owl, very wise, octopus, very limber, obviously. They can get through anything their kind of like beak can fit through, which is kind of wild. but even you've probably seen online or somewhere of octopus or octopi. I think it's either or, right? Anyway, solving puzzles and solving like different things, being able to go onto land as well as water, right? Probably not best for them in land, but they're able to move through, um, for a short time. So they're able to adapt as well. There's adaptability and there's possibility. You can move things around with this card. And also, I feel like it's a nice card because it's like a re-spark of something interesting. This is like learning as well. Like maybe you wanted to go back to school or just like study something, or even dedicate an hour or two to, I don't know, watching nature documentaries. I don't know. Like it's really that's the whole point of curiosity. It's about being curious with all the stuff. Even some of the stuff I haven't seen, it could be like something completely different, right? So it's a really nice message coming through here of like participating, getting back out there, trusting in yourself, believing in you, your integrity. I love this card. It really is. This really is your card, part one, the loyalty to innermost truth. You can kind of see that where you're not doing that too in life. Where am I acting a part and instead of living the role I was made to play, right? So it's kind of like going into the play, and you're meant to be, I don't know, the bartender, let's say, in a particular skit, and instead you decide to be, I don't know, a tree in the background. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, because it's fine, like you're still there, you're still part of it, but you're just like not in the role that you were meant to be in. So it's an interesting kind of like message here, but I want to get a couple of cards just from Saint Germain because I feel like he's got a couple of things to just remind you on top of this reading. So take this as slightly different, like a side note. All right, let's see what Saint Germain has to say. So he's bringing through the moon. Okay, very clear. And the Five of Cups. This was like, it starts, like all I saw here first was it starts with you. It starts with your inner work. It starts with you looking inwards, or at least allowing yourself to open up the door to your soul, right? To really open it up and look inwards, because that's where you'll find a lot of the causes for some of the grievances. Also, a lot of the blessings and love and excitement, right? This isn't just shadowy stuff. This is also to allow the light to shine through into your aura or into your like life. You've got the Five of Cards really talking about grief. This is the Death Head Hawk Moth, which is very much about death and rebirth, really. And moths in general are about transformation. You've got the wolf here, or some kind of coyote, I'm not too sure. With animals looking around the city, right? He's found a fish in here. So it's like adaptability and being able to do this. It's like there's nothing, like, I don't want to say this like fully, but the way it's coming through is like, no, say it. It's like there's nothing holding you back from completing or starting this path, right? It's completely up to you. Your guides are going to be fine with whatever you choose. However, this is like completely up to you to do this. But you'll find that there's no point looking at broken glasses for any longer than you've already spent time grieving, waiting, that kind of thing. And I don't know your situation, right? So if it is really heavy, do what you need to do. But I feel like this is a good message from Saint Germain's, like it's time. Like it is time to start to heal this, or to, live life in a way that's more abundant, more exciting, if that's what you want. If you want the chill flow down the river, that's absolutely fine too. But not the message that I'm getting. It's very much like adding in a bit of spark, even if it's just a small light, because that can turn into a big bonfire in time. Okay, really nice message. I'm just going to see if Saint Germain wants to say anything else. He's kind of like just connect with your heart, ground yourself. Like that's going to be the big things. Like, because he was like, I don't want to say touching my feet, but it's like pointing awareness to my feet. It's probably like my legs, and it's like the roots going through and holding, anchoring you in. It's like this is a good time to ground your practices, ground yourself, connect with your inner self, because your inner self will want to maybe distract you or like maybe do something. I'm not too sure. It's not like they don't want to do this, but it's like it's challenging, right? So part of you might want to like not run away, but kind of like look over there kind of thing while to kind of distract you. And it's not a bad thing. They just I don't know, need some coaxing, I guess. The inner self needs some coaxing to come through. But once they do step into the light, it'll be like it'll feel so much easier to want than the idea of doing it. It's like the practical is actually easier than the idea of doing the practical. Okay, I'll leave that because my throat's going. But thank you for letting me read for you today, Par One. Hopefully, this has assisted with you and your life, right? With whatever you've got going on. I want to thank you so much. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you've enjoyed it or not, leave an up thumb or a down thumb, right? Whatever resonates with you and whatever's your truth. But thank you for letting me read for you, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading pile number 2. So you've chosen a very interesting one. It was kind of when I saw this, I was like, ooh, I'm excited to see what you're going to get. But you've chosen Goddess Kali with the Black Obsidian, Sacred Revolution. So this feels like a revolution, right? Overturning things that aren't working. So this could be a big kind of conversation with yourself. Black Obsidian is really interesting. I did a burning ritual or ceremony or whatever you want to call it with the full moon. It was on my birthday actually. The full moon fell on, and it was also a super full moon, and the moon was, if you go by tropical, was in Pisces, which is my moon sign. So it was pretty significant for me, and it felt like the right time to let go. You know, the burning isn't negative, it's really to like release and let go. And I had a piece of black obsidian which dropped and smashed right after I'd finished. So it was like, okay, a sign of letting go. So obviously I had to let go of that. That was gone, which was kind of sad, but also made me smile right at the time because it was very symbolic of letting go of the past or things that I had absorbed, because that's kind of what black obsidian is. It's an absorbing stone. It's also very protective. But it, yeah, when it smashed, I was like, well, that is a clear sign. It shattered too. It was really interesting. It was kind of like a disc, and it just shattered. It wasn't like split into little pieces where I could keep. It was shattered. So, you know, it was an interesting time. And the reason why I say that is maybe that kind of situation or practice is something that you might want to be at a place where you let go of it, because especially if you're the black obsidian, right, hardy, protective, but eventually at some point needs to like release, recharge, and rejuvenate in some way. So, oops, I just flicked a card away. Might just take that since it wanted to fly away, because there's no running cards today. But yeah, very interesting situation, and very interesting goddess to come through. Kali, the first time but was introduced, right, was through Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, when the guy's saying Kali Ma and he takes the guy's heart out. So not the best, but and then I saw pictures of her and I was like, oh, okay, lots of skulls and like lots of stuff going on. So it didn't really resonate until I got actually into spirituality not long ago, a few years back, and kind of looked her up and like her story, and you know, it was almost super protective, right? Very protective of the earth and of people, and almost self-sacrificing in a way. She drank like demon blood, which sounds wild, but that's the story, so that not a drop of it would spill on the earth, so it wouldn't taint the earth and taint the land and taint people, right? So it was like very sacrificial in a way, but it obviously caused her to go kind of wild in a sense. So yeah, there's obviously different versions or incarnations, right? Because they have a lot of different things. But yeah, interesting character, interesting figure in Hinduism and I'm sure other kind of belief systems. So let's take a look at your cards. But yeah, super protective, and again, just like the black obsidian, absorbing that negativity. You can only do it for so long. So if that's kind of like part of your reading or message, you know, be kind to yourself. Essentially, just be kind to yourself as well. Give yourself some time to recharge, to release, to be you. Of course, we'll see what comes through. I'm going to ask Kali to come through for this reading as well. And just give you like a couple of cards at the end, or even during the reading, as like a message, especially since you've chosen this. I'm sure you don't mind Kali coming through for this reading. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at these cards and then I'll pull a couple of Tower at the end. So first two cards is the Rainbow Bridge, love this, and the Castle. The Castle. Castle's interesting, kind of reminds me of the Tower in a way, but then we've got this like regalness, right? This pink rose, like this pink heart. It kind of feels like higher heart chakra, and like this pearls, which are quite delicate, right? They're made out of like usually in like an oyster shell or some kind of like bivalve creature, and you know it's a buildup of whatever it is. I don't really know, but I'm assuming it's some kind of like soot or whatever, and it turns into the pearl. So it takes a long time. It's natural, but it's also like very delicate. Like there's delicate energy here. So while the castle seems strong, there's also the softness. And you're allowed to be both, right? You can be the, like here with the bridge between this hand and the bridge to the other hand, or like the light bridge to the other hand. It's like you can be as tough and as strong as you are while honoring the softness within as well. Like you're not labeled as, if someone labels you as tough and strong, that doesn't mean you have to play up to it. You're here to be you, not to be whatever label you put on yourself or whatever label other people put on you, right? I feel like you've already gone through a lot of transitions, and you're probably seeing this now and thinking, yeah, I really have, right? Take that as like a huge sign of growth, because I feel like getting here has been, you know, it has been a challenge, and you might look back and think, oh, I haven't actually gone through that much. But it's not always about the specific things, it's also about the feelings. Some people can go through a car accident, right, and be like, oh gosh, now I have to get this done. So they just go do it. Some people that could trigger like trauma from the past, or it could be just like a really traumatic event for them. So it's not so much about like judging it, it's really about how did it make you feel at the time. Because you could feel the same, like go through the same situation now and feel very fine with it, but like in the past it might have been different. And so you've been able to bridge or like commute over to a lot of different timelines, wavelengths, dimensions. I don't know, like it feels like you've done a lot of the groundwork, and you know sometimes that builds up a lot of calluses on our hands, right? And so we forget how soft our hands used to be, and you can have your calloused hands while also enjoying the softness and the beautiful things in life as well. So it's just wanted to come through. Interesting reading. This is like, yeah, this is a lot different to how I thought it was going to go. This is really touching on your sweetness, your like grounding, your foundations, the things that you've built, while also allowing yourself to be free as who you are. You've got wish. despairing and hopeful and inner child. This is all where it's going to help and where it comes from, right? Like with the challenges from the past. I don't think your reading wants to focus too heavily on the challenges of the past and kind of wallow in them. They want you to only look back if it's to help with today's dreams, right? The past, a child, which talks about careless and receptive, the past kind of like you isn't there to kind of trigger anything negative. It's really there to remind you of all aspects of self. Not just the hard stuff, but also the inner light and the love of, that curious nature of who you were. Now, if there is like stuff to work on, go for it. Do what you feel is right for you. Remember, this is an inner reflection. This is just my interpretation of the cards. But you know what you've been through. You know what you've gone through. Read these cards as you feel is important to you. Do you need to start introducing more of that fun aspect, that childlike aspect, was there something from the inner child in the past that needs healing, that needs to be spoken to a therapist or something like that, or needs to be cleared in some way? That is really up to you. It really is your reading, right? And your interpretation as well is so important here, because especially if you've done this many times and you've been successful many times in different lifetimes of healing and going through hardship and then getting something different in life. I feel like you're probably going to take a holiday life next time, or you might even not come back for a while, or you'll if you're not from here, you'll go somewhere else, right? You'll have a different experience or different kind of existence. However, that is that's up to you. And so where your higher self's focus into now is this life, because you're here getting this message. You've got help from above. Yeah, this inner talk or this inner conversation isn't just between you and you. It's really like, your guides are here to assist too. You've never been left alone in a sense. Even if we have felt alone at times, right? We really haven't been left alone. We've had them around us whispering, keeping us going basically in tough times. So I think the full moon kind of energy is still going on. It's really interesting. This full moon, well, maybe just for me, but I feel like potentially for a lot of people, it's like still going on until the new moon comes up. Like there's a lot of energy still passing through. So this could be clearing out a whole lot of old bullshit from the past. And when I say bullshit, I don't mean minimizing it. I'm saying just a lot of like toxic or old stories or stuff that just no longer is needing to be there. So you've got support from your guides, from your higher self. That is very clear, and in the middle of your reading, it's very true. Yeah, the Phoenix rises. That's why I was thinking a lot of transformations, right? It's been many cycles. You've had many cycles. I think you've had many lives. And I think it probably is a good time to have a conversation with your higher self and be like, you need to take a break after this, or you need to take a break now, in a way of calm, right? Having calm in the life. Like there's no rush, like to your higher self. Like if I'm speaking directly to your higher self, there's no rush to get anything done. They know it. They can see it. Like they should be able to see certain things. They may have kind of like plans, but if you need a break, take a break. It's okay. You're not here to live for your higher self. You're not here to live for your past lives, right? You're here to live for yourself and co-create with all that is, like your higher self, your past lives, all of it. This isn't a dictatorship, right? And you're a puppeteer kind of like doing what they need you to do. That's none of that. This is your existence. The Phoenix rising is about death and rebirth. The Phoenix rises out of the flames and you become cleansed anew and that kind of thing. And if you've gone through many cycles of the transformation after transformation, or even in this life, transformation, it can be burnout, right? So I don't know if this is you needing to take a break or your higher self needing to chill in the higher realms or in like sleep time or whatever, because you don't need to be so drained or exhausted all the time, especially if you've noticed that you don't do too much in the physical world, right? But you feel super drained in the morning and you have kind of wacky, wild dreams, or you have a whole bunch of dreams, but you forget about them all, whatever. Maybe you want to write down those dreams. I'm not so sure. That maybe for some or others, like always, leave it if it doesn't resonate, take it if it does. Got a little bit of shimmering light coming through. You've also got the golden shadow, discover deep dreams and desires. This is interesting. I don't know if this is like for some of you, but there's definitely one person here that's kind of watching. I'll talk to the card in a second, but there's one person that's kind of watching and I'm just saying that no one needs to validate your belief, right? You don't need someone to validate who you feel you are or who you say you are or who you think you were in a past life or anything like that. That's not going to help you and it's not going to help them. If you validate it and you feel it's right, great. Now, what do you do with that? What is your plan with that truth and that information? Because that's really what's important, not who you are, but what you kind of do with that. And that doesn't mean like what you do with it, okay, now I have to be this big writer or this or that or whatever, or have to emulate the past life. No, you just be yourself. Like you're here to be you. But for everyone else, discover deep dreams and desires. It's really coming through the wish in a child. So it could be something that you've wanted to do as a child. This could be a really good segue out of like the path. Like you're not a soldier running errands for some kind of like lord or king or queen or whatever, right? This isn't that. And if that's how you've kind of been feeling or felt, this might be a good time to really have that conversation with your higher self, because I feel like your higher self is kind of getting a bit of I don't know, coaxing with this reading, that it's for both of you, right? It's for your, whatever you do, it needs to be for the best for both of you, not just for the cause or for the people kind of thing, which is interesting because sacred revolution, right? The revolution might be like, instead of seeing the higher self as higher than you and you down here, right? It's seeing everyone as equal, because that's true anyway. Everyone is equal, even our high aspects, even our what we pray to as like God, goddess, deities, whatever, Kali, right? They were all equal. And anything that comes through that says otherwise, wants to rule over you, wants to show that they're better than you, whatever, that is not source, or that sounds like ego. So be mindful of that. Got flexibility, absolutely, that is important in this reading. The ability to adjust and adapt. It's funny because all these transformations, you would think that there's a huge amount of adaptability, but when transformation and change becomes the norm, the flexibility needs to be back, kind of turned into a balance. You've got the yin and yang here. There needs to be a balance of push, pull, masculine, feminine, light, shadow, fun and work, all that kind of stuff. But your higher self, your guides, they're all here to assist anyway. They're here for you to take what's true to you in this reading. Okay, let's see what they want to say. Yeah, it's a new way of thinking and feeling, but you've got so many abilities and skills like built up, right? You've been able to overcome many different trials and challenges. So why would you force yourself into transformation when what's right for you is a rest? Why would you rest when you know what's right for you is to transform, right? You kind of have to take what feels right to you in this reading, because some people, it's like the opportunity's there to transform more, and some of it's to take a break and you have to decide what feels right to you. If you've gone through transformation after transformation after transformation and you're like, oh, so maybe I need to transform more, I would say maybe look at that. If you're like haven't really done too much with regards to you've just kind of like been going with the flow, have a look. Is it time to transform, or do you need more time to rest, recover, and heal? Because that's okay as well. Neither is right or wrong. It's you've got to go with what feels correct to you. Yeah, it's a balancing act. Interesting that we've got the Two of Pentacles with flexibility. This is definitely like, you don't have to go whole hog into something. You don't have to go whole hog into rest and relaxation. You don't have to go whole hog into work and productivity, right? There has to be a balance with all this, even if we're just talking about work and like work-life balance. Jobs always like to talk about work-life balance as like a catchphrase, right? But not actually really talk about it, and or like implement it sometimes. So this might be for you to start to create that within your reality now, of having that play and fun, as well as the other stuff, as well as the work. Yeah, check in with your inner child too. Just because the inner child came up, let him or her or whoever out, right? To play, to dance, to feel free, to just like kick it, to kind of like talk to a tree, to splash in the puddle, I guess, if you want to do that. You know, whatever your inner child, even if it's something really, really lame, like, don't be afraid to be seen being kind of like wacky or weird. People might laugh and point it out, right? But like, who cares? Who are they? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Who are they? Okay. Let's see if Mark Ali wants to come through and share a message with you. Wow, she is in a good mood with you. Number one, probably thanking you for picking the pile. But yeah, you're able to make a lot of shifts and changes really easy. Like, this is your gift, right? So don't turn your gift into a curse. It's kind of like the person who's fantastic at baking and they do like a little show on YouTube, and everyone's like, create a bakery, do a bakery and send us all these like things and we'll buy them, blah, blah, blah. And then they do it and they turn what they loved into something that is now stressful and disappointing, right? It's like, well, this is hard, this is challenging, this actually isn't what I enjoy anymore. And so, you know, you don't want to turn your ability to make great things new into like a job, right? It should have its fun and play as well. And that's how you get the benefit from all the progress that you're making. So whether this speeding up to slow down is correct for you, or speeding up to ultimately transform and change your reality, to add some fun and vibe into it, that's really where this whole sacred revolution is coming from. It's like, whatever you do, you're going to head to good things anyway. That's the truth of your future. It feels like she's coming through and saying, it's like, no matter which path you take, whether it's the quick route, let's say, or the hard route, the easy route, or even a good blend in between, you're destined to reach your goals anyway. It's like tortoise and hare, right? One like runs off, waits, sleeps, and the tortoise wins. It doesn't really matter who won. They both were getting to where they needed to anyway, even if the hare got there. The hare would just have to wait until the tortoise got there and be like, I won. But it's like, but they got there at the same time. Does it really matter who got there first? You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Yeah, so if you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments below. You know, just take this, if you don't take anything else away. You've created and built something very strong on many different difficulties and challenges and things like that. So, you know, honor that, because while this castle kind of felt like the tower, it didn't feel like the tower that was about to fall. It feels like the strength of like character and who you are. So, you know, always see that as truth. And whatever you decide and whatever you trust with your intuition, with these bats kind of feel intuitive, You don't need to see it, right? What's unseen is you already know where you're going and where you're heading towards very quickly by the looks of it. Okay, well, I hope that really helps you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. If this resonated, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. But otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello, welcome to your reading, pile 3. So this is a reading for Mirror Talk, right? An introspective kind of conversation with self. And you've chosen the Ascended Master Helios and the Citrine. Your time to shine. Pretty clear with this one what this will be kind of like popping up with. We'll see what actually comes out in the reading. Sometimes they're like, choose this one looks fun and shiny, and then they hit you with a whammy, right? But we'll see what actually comes through. So I will be pulling some cards first, and then we'll have a look. I'll leave the tarot to the end. Might actually ask Helios to come through, the Ascended Master Helios to come through. You can kind of see here, it just feels like the sun. Like very vibrant sun energy with these, with the crystal, with the like fire in the background, and obviously Helios as well. Okay, we'll take, oh, you got 3, all right. We'll see how they fit. Not a lot of space, but we'll make it work. This one, okay. Just trying to figure out which ones they wanted to bring through. It's kind of fun connecting with this energy right now. It does feel like this is high vibe energy, right? This is good energy. You're on the path, or you're in the light, or you're working on your shadow, or you're in the right spot. Like you really need to be, right? You really need to be, feels true. But since they brought that up, we'll see what message they want to bring through then. Move this up because these cards are long. Interesting cards to be picking decks. Like we've got the archetype cards, which go kind of deep, right? This is the soul mirror cards, and that makes a lot of sense with this kind of reading. This is the heal yourself cards, and the, what are they called? The secret language of darkness, I think it's called. This isn't shadowy. It's speaking to, it's shining a light on the inner kind of like shadow. So it makes a lot of sense with this particular reading that these cards have been chosen. I really do pick intuitively. And obviously I can only use the ones that I've got, but I've got many. And it's fun kind of getting a lot of different messages. Sometimes I'm always like, why this particular deck? I've already got a tarot deck out, but it might be because that particular tarot deck has like a particular card that's different to the other tarot cards, right? So it's about the card. So never doubt your intuition, even though I'll question it sometimes. I'm like, but this deck's already out. Why do I need to grab another one? And I'll go with it, of course, but it's always like makes sense once I see what comes through. Okay, let's take a look at your reading. So you have the box, the shaman, and the fault line. Really interesting ones here. Seems like a lot of work, right? A lot of healing coming through, and not easy. It's almost like it was tough to either break out of the box. Like a fault line comes through generally with like earthquakes, right? Or tectonic plate kind of fault lines and stuff like that. Which some we know of, some we know are there, we knew were there, we always knew that were there, but we were just waiting for that earthquake to disrupt things or to shake things up. We never knew what was going to happen. It kind of makes me think of like childhood, like take this or leave it, of course, but like it's almost like childhood with an abusive parent or whatever, right? A narcissistic parent or something like that, where you never knew if it was going to be a good day or a bad day, or someone who has depression, right? You never knew if it was going to be a good day or a bad day. This could be you, it could be people from the past, it could be anything, but it's really touching on, you've done a huge amount of work, and this has been like a part of your growth, and maybe that will lead into helping and assisting others in some way in the future. I'm not too sure. Sorry, it's really noisy outside today. If you've been hearing that, not sure what's happening. Just a lot of banging around. But maybe that's kind of true here, right? The journey has been a lot of twists and turns, let's just say. Especially with these three, because the fault line is kind of like, we know where there are fault lines in the earth, in the world, and we never know what's going to happen with those, with like the shifts of tectonic plates. Sometimes a lot of small earthquakes is better than one big one, because that really shakes things up, right? So you never, like, it feels like for some people you never knew what was going to happen, or there was a lot of like difficulty having like safety. Like the box is almost like shoving yourself into a confined space so that if things around you broke down, that you were less impacted. I feel like, I don't know if this is you now, but if it is, and you still feel this, hopefully you're in a place where you don't have to, right? You've overcome it, but there's still something within that needs to be kind of like either cleared or gone into to clear out. I'm not too sure, but there's something there with this box. Like it's kind of like we put things in a box to either hide them, to conceal them, to keep them safe, that kind of thing, or to even package them right and send them off somewhere so that they say protected, and then people don't know what's in them, right? That kind of thing. So that's how this is feeling. It's like, and you can see here layer after layer after layer after layer after layer. Sometimes it's fine to have boundaries, but if we have walls everywhere, it's hard for people to get to know us. It's hard for us to like allow ourselves to live freely because we're still caught up in something. So yeah, I feel like you're still on the right path, right? You're doing what you need to. This is just like, maybe this is time to look at this particular thing, if you choose to, of course. You have intuition with confused and clear. I don't know if any of this is blocking your abilities, right? Your ability to sense, smell, hear, whatever. Maybe it's causing some kind of like actual physical attribute. If you're actually suffering from anything physical and you've gone to doctors and all that kind of stuff, this actually could stem from here in some wacky and weird way, but that's just like very offshot, not a doctor or anything, and this is a medical advice. But maybe there is something there to heal that will actually take off. It's kind of like when people are stressed and have the world on their shoulders, right? And they get an adjustment, like you'll see it online, like a chiropractic adjustment, and they'll start crying, and it's like because of a lot of pressure. And people probably just think it was there because like it's just the relief of no longer having that, but it probably stems through many different things, many different like past things, and a lot. And while it might be just that, I'm sure many times it's like a whole lot of stuff like gets released. So yeah, this is where this is coming through, but always trust your intuition as well. Like that's very clear with this one. You've got reflection, interesting, because we're talking about reflective reading, right? So you've got reflection with outward and inward. And it's kind of funny how they show like the shadow and the light. Here, confused, clear. Here, outward, inward. So this is a very clear message of this is an inside job, not an external thing. This is like I said with that, whatever you've got going on physically, obviously go to doctor, do what you need to do, but this is coming through very clearly, and I just can't like push it away because I don't want to get like in trouble with someone, right? You decide and you make choices, take ownership of your own choices and decisions, but what's coming through is like there may be something attributed to that. And so while you're trying to look outwardly for like relief or like support or something, this has to be done inwardly. There's like an aspect that needs to be looked at inwardly, and it could have been stemmed from the past or something you had to heal from, or still healing from, right? Where you kind of put yourself into a space where you could feel safe, and you feels like you don't have to do that anymore. But you're the kind of client, let's say. This is also your interpretation and your message. You've got your unleash creativity. Interesting, especially with intuition. It's kind of like a psychic medium or someone, or even like a tarot reader yourself. You might already have this, and it's not to say you don't have your intuition. Of course you do, but it's like there's something wanting to break free out of this. And it could have been like if you were intuitive as a kid and you got pushed back, right? It's like, no, you're making that up. No, this isn't true. No, you're probably just making things up, laughed at, that kind of thing. You end up blocking all your abilities, right? So it might have been even something like that. And you're waiting for your time. It's like you don't have to wait for the earth to shift, so to speak, to step forward into this true aspect of you, or this like beautiful aspect of you internally coming out. You're not going to find it outside of yourself. Like it'll come from within. Yeah, you've got self-sabotage, so not what everyone wants to see, right, in a reading or anything like that. But it's kind of like it's time to take off this idea of like, well, this happened to me or that kind of occurred or anything like that. It's now time to take command, to take control. It's not minimizing what you've already gone through in life to get to here. It's just more calling out that like, okay, we've kept the door open. It's like being left out of prison or something, and it's like, here's the door, you can leave now. And you're like, no, but I'm comfortable here in prison, right? And outside looking in, people might think that's crazy, but it's like you have like routine, you've got had like food, you've had like comfort and all this kind of stuff. You've gone through all this. You're safe. You're like, now you're able to explore and have the world, even though you dreamed about it for so long, and now you're being offered it. It's like it's too much. So don't turn down the, like, what is it? Don't gift. Don't let a don't something gift horse in the mouth. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a old timey saying. But anyway, it's pretty much just like, if opportunities and things pop up, don't count yourself short. Don't minimize yourself. You're able to go get it, go do it, create it if you choose to, if that's within your, soul calling. Because this is all about time to shine, right? Unleash your creativity. You've already got it. You've got the goods. Don't hold yourself back. Don't try to search for that outwardly, or wait for the sign to come through. See this as the sign. See this as every single card is a sign. So you've had many, 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 many signs just in this reading. You've got the bigger picture. It says, see all sides without contradiction. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because especially if we've been like hard done by someone, it's hard to see like their point of view. But if we don't want to look at their point of view, then we can see, maybe have an honest reflection of like where things were not going right, right? Like say it's a relationship that ended, and you look back and it's like, oh yeah, 6 months before it got really bad, that's when I knew it was over anyway. It's like a really honest reflection. It's not to okay anyone from doing what they've done or anything like that. It's just to be like, I will not make that mistake again, right? And that doesn't mean like I'm going to lock myself in a box and put on a chastity belt or something. No, this is really like, I'm going to acknowledge that what's done is done with this. I'm leaving it, but I'm not going to let it continually cycle and hurt me moving forward, or slow me down, or stop me from my true gifts, right? You've got the heart love. Yeah, heart love, 33, very nice. The unconditional center. Yeah, this reading is really about to unleash this. This isn't to criticize or judge you. This reading isn't about judgment. It's really about shining that light within outwardly. You could see this as well as like, I feel like some of your past lives are coming through with this reading, and just being like, this is the time to, you've already broken the cycle, right? Or broken some kind of cycle. This is to really like expand with the cycle, and kind of like ensure that all future lives and everything like that can see these patterns before replaying them, right? Or something like that. I don't know how to word it, but it's like something your past lives want to tell you. I guess it's individual for each of you, but they're really like supporting you. And you're kind of like a leader in a sense of this new breakthrough in time. And I think there's no coincidence that you have come into this life at this time, and with this like higher aspect of your soul, right? You've brought through the abilities and everything that you've needed to really make a go of this life, and you've actually done a lot of it, if not completed most of it. This is just like that next kind of like step. You don't want to hold on to the past and let it like leave it for the next life, right? This is about really honestly letting it go. Okay, interesting message. Let's see what else comes through. Yeah, beautiful. You've done it. Like, that's what I was thinking. It feels like you've already accomplished so much in this life. Like, you've accomplished many, many things. I think some stuff is like, wow, you powered through that really easily, and it's like it was supposed to be a whole thing that was supposed to last like 2 or 3 years or something, and you did it within like, I don't know, 10 months, which is sounds long, right? But when it's supposed to be accomplished in 3 years, it's really fast. So yeah, these are quite good things. These are great things. I feel like once you cross over that threshold of like holding on and just like shine, instead of minimizing or like waiting for the external to kind of tell you you're good, you'll actually tell yourself that you're great, you know, that you're important, that you're loved, right? That you're doing things from the heart, and you'll start to like, it'll just be a lot more in flow, a lot easier. Yeah, it's interesting, the song playing that I'm listening to, so I listen to a little bit of music just while I do the readings, because I don't know, it just helps. It's called Better Than Me, right? And it's not about judgment. This isn't about judgment of me to you, your higher self to you, you to your higher self, you to the past people that have harmed you. This isn't about criticism or judgment. This is about taking the reins and living the life that you want to do today, that you want to live today, I should say. But really nice message. Also, it's 4:40, if that means anything to anyone. Yeah, look at this. You've got the heart love with the 9 of Cups. This is all yours on offer. Never let yourself minimize by others or by yourself. You don't need to be harsh on yourself. You don't need to be hard on yourself. You don't need to be judgmental of yourself. You don't need to hold yourself back with anything. All right, let's see if Helios wants to come through and just share a message with a couple of cards. But yeah, 9 of Cups, this is dreams. This is like completion, right? 4 of Cups, celebration, completion, like you're completing things. It's not the 10 though, because it's not finished, right? There's more to come. There's more to be had from this existence. Yeah, it's like, don't wait for the cup to come down. Get off the whatever, the hanged man kind of position, and go grab your cup. Go get it. But it's like you're starting to see it. Like this card is usually the card of like melancholy, or like you know, being somewhere great but not feeling like you fit in, or like being lonely in a crowd kind of thing, in a group of people, and just not really resonating, right? And it's like, if that's the case, you're starting to now see the light, or see where you need to go. And it's like, well, I don't know if I can get there. Well, if you can see it, you can get there. Yeah, go forward. Might have to get into trust and faith. The Fool card has full trust in himself, right? That whatever happens, he'll be able to handle. He'll be able to take whatever comes through. So have a look at the bottom of the deck. You've got this, yeah, the 6 of Cups. Leave the past in the past, especially if it's heavy. And then on the top of the deck, you have the 2 of Pentacles. So like this balance. There's a balance that needs to be had. I know it's easy saying that with the balance, but like the 2 dolphins, there has to be a balance of like play and like work, right? there needs to be of going hunting and fishing. If you're a dolphin, right, you have to go hunting and fishing. You have to, also communicate and play like they do play. I've seen one where some dolphins grab pufferfish, right, and they pass the pufferfish around because it's got like some toxins in it, but they just have like a little bit and they kind of get high off it. Not saying go get high, but like, there has to be a balance of like work and play for sure. And that dream is there and it's possible. Don't see it as a pie in the sky. Don't sabotage yourself and say that dream is possible for some people. Like, of course, that person would be able to get this because they have this, or they can fall back on this person, or blah, blah, blah. That's a whole lot of blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, go get what you want. Go get it. Oh, Helios is coming through with like, go get it. Go for it. It might mean you are taking a risk and taking a chance, but it really isn't some kind of like crazy risk, right? It's not like, I'll see if I'll survive by jumping out of this 10-story building. It's not that. It's more like, well, if I go into here and ask if they have like any positions in this, like, I don't know, kind of work, I'm not going to lose my life, right? They're just going to say yes or no. So take that, like, is it really a risk that you think it is? Rejection by saying, is there a position? It's not that bad when you think about it like that, right? Hopefully, I don't know. But I'm going to leave your message there. It's really, really, really nice. It's really, really, really cool. You've done a lot of work, right? You've really helped and improved yourself. You probably are a light for a lot of people in your life by the looks of it. Well, the people that matter, I would say. Sounds really sassy, but that's just how it came through. So I thought I would put that in there too. But yeah, shine your unique self, be you, go for the goals that you want, because that is what is really important. And where do you find those goals? Those goals are within you. They're not external ones. They're not told by the media. They're not told by culture or religion. They're told by you. Okay, I'll leave you alone now. Thank you so much for letting me read for you Pile 3. Really beautiful message. Hopefully it resonated. If you have any questions or want to leave a comment, please do. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.